I have a Warhammer army that I just cannot seem to finish. Because I'm lazy and I don't have enough time, I tried hiring commission painters to do it for me. But then I realized, instead of paying big dollars, what if my viewers painted my Warhammer for free? Well, that was easy. Okay, it's not really free, but basically I made a competition for my Patreon and top 3 places will get something from me. So now I will judge all of them and everyone who sent me a squig that I get to keep will get something from me as well. Okay, we will start with our good German friend Mirko, and his Instagram hopefully is now on screen. Very good packaging. Oh wow. So I didn't mention this yet, but this was supposed to be a Christmas video, but unfortunately not all squigs arrived on time. And this is very cool, festive mood squig. I mean the horns are fucking awesome. The Santa hat and the little snowball here must have took so much time, as well as the horns. Keep in mind that this is the first one and the bar is already set quite high. This guy must have put so much work into sculpting. So yeah, sure, maybe the paint job could be a bit better. For example, this goblin right here could be blended a bit more with a squig, and this cloth could be more high contrast, but like the sculpting, man, that's bloody great. This right here is a big boy. I cannot even fit it on camera because it's so big, so let's unpack it first. So he sent me a big box and inside of that was a smaller box. Then he took this box and decided to put another box inside. I wonder, is there gonna be another box? Some toilet paper? Always useful. Okay. So we got even more conversions. Very interesting. The squig is truly amazing. I mean, it has fins, it has this kinda glowy thingy that those deep ocean fish have. I think the OSL could be a bit more consistent, but hey, I can tell that it's OSL, so it works. Once more, I would imagine more contrast on the cape and the cloth. As it is right now, I'm mostly focused on the OSL and the base, but when there is OSL, it should also spread on the goblin, which I don't really see as much, just a little bit on the weapon. So again, the sculpting is amazing, the idea is amazing, but on the other hand, I would improve the paint job a little bit. I am really looking forward to this one because it's from KJ, who is a really active member of our Discord. Alright. So even though there is no super interesting conversion or idea, the paint job makes up for it. Unfortunately, the base is a bit boring when you compare it to the initial 2 entries. But still, this is not like a deal breaker. On this one, you have much more contrast in highlights and shades. On the other hand, I don't think that there is enough midtones on this one. So when you look at the squig skin, you have very dark red, and then you have tiny spot that is quite light. This is not exactly a problem, but it's not what I usually prefer, but I would use this approach more on like non-metallic metal. But when you look at the non-metallic metal, there is much to be improved. Like, I think that when it comes to contrast, you have as much contrast on the skin tones as on the non-metallic metal, which doesn't really make sense, so that's a bit unfortunate. Then you have this smoke effect, which also is basically just like one base coat and that's it. But when it comes to painting, so far this one is the best. This one is from Jake. Okay, either I'm f***ing stupid or the squig is missing. Ah, there it is. Ugh. So what I like about this one is this non-metallic metal part, even though I would go a bit brighter on the highlights, but still, to me, it reads as nice metallic. But on the other hand, the squig skin needs more contrast, and especially in the shades. Aside from darker shades on the squig skin, I would also do another round of edge highlights on the teeth, also the robe and the skin of the goblin. Overall, I think that the top part of this model is painted better than the lower part, so I like the goblin a bit more than the squig. The base is quite plain and simple. At the very least, I would paint the tufts a little bit, for example, put a wash inside of them, maybe some pigment. Then you can see at the bottom of his feet that there are some edges that are not really highlighted. Just use some edge highlights, even a tiny bit on every edge you see. But if there are 2 pieces of advice that I would give to this painter, one is to darken the shades of the squig skin tone, and 2 is to edge highlight everything just a tiny bit, if nothing else. Don't be too harsh with your judgment. Okay, I'll try. This right here is actually quite interesting. I really like how he painted the robe of the goblin. Also, quite like the eye of the squig. However, there is some really big mistake, and that is this part. I'm not sure why it's like that. It's quite unfortunate because he painted some really nice volumetric highlights, which like overall makes a nice impression, but like this piece right here, if you take so much time painting your miniature so nicely, why don't you fix that, man? Now you might say that it's not really smooth, and yeah, it's not super smooth, but contrast is more important than smoothness, and this piece definitely has that. It's also a good practice to focus on the facial features, and on this miniature that's definitely the case. The squig has a really nice eye, some nice teeth, the goblin has very well painted hood. So overall, I really like the paint job, but unfortunately, it's not assembled very well. And another thing that I would add is paint the base. It's really necessary. This looks a bit out of place, especially this piece right here. With this parcel, there is a unique story, because customs f***ed me over, UPS f***ed me over, everyone f***ed me over, and I had to wait for like 2 months. And I paid some money for customs, so yeah. But it's finally here, so let's look inside. Holy smokes. Oh my... Oh lord, this is so cool. Okay, I am having a real hard time picking which one will be in the top 3, because this is really good. By adding the backdrop, you add another dimension to the story of your miniature. Also, I really like the saturation of the squig and the volumes on the squig. There is also some non-metallic metal that I think needs a bit more contrast, but still the overall impression is really good. Yeah, like at this point, other than the scratches on the teeth, I don't have too much to add here. Really like the saturation, really like the custom backdrop plinth. This is gonna be tough. In this case, packaging was a bit more minimalistic, but that's absolutely alright, that's what I like. This is really good. When it comes to style, I think that this is really close to my own style, how I prefer to paint my squig hoppers. So obviously you have your non-metallic metal helmet right here, the squig skin is just plain red, and that's actually what I prefer. The eye right here is really nice, you can actually compare these two next to each other. But when it comes to skin of the squig, some of the places could be a bit lighter, definitely. Also, the teeth could be highlighted a bit more. Other than that, I think that non-metallic metal could also be more reflective. I kinda get it that like goblins don't really polish their armor, but still. Then I don't think that this miniature works from all sides very well. For example, the right side from our view looks way better than the left side, which isn't a big deal if you have like plinth backdrop like this, where you can kinda position your miniature so it stays in the same angle. However, there is no backdrop plinth in this case, but overall I really like it. It's technically still very good piece. Oh man, that's lovely. Right off the bat, there is a certain issue here, and that is that this mushroom is overly saturated and too bright. So it kind of takes away attention from the squig. So if the squig or the goblin inside are supposed to be the main center of attention, you should make them the brightest. But when it comes to the overall idea, I really like it. So while everyone was supposed to submit a squig hopper, this is not exactly a squig hopper, but just a regular squig that swallowed a goblin. But because this is supposed to be like a squig hopper weapon, it kind of works out. I mean, that's quite creative. I also have to say that these are the nicest teeth and gums and goblin skin that I have seen so far. The squig skin is very nice, but unfortunately it's a bit too dark for me. I would prefer some like skin tone or orangey highlights. I think that it could work very nicely. The weapon could be highlighted more aggressively for it to read as metallic. As it is, it's a little too dull, but overall, other than the mushroom, I think that this piece is quite consistent. So after carefully inspecting all the pieces, I was supposed to pick the 3 winners. But since I get to keep them, who is the real winner? Well, anyway, before doing that, I provided in-depth feedback for everyone by photoshopping their entries. It wasn't easy picking the winners. And it's true that all the pieces were special in their own way, but after considering things like cleanliness, readability, consistency, as well as the other special stuff, I picked these 3. I wanna thank all my patrons and especially the ones that participated in this contest and sent me a squig. And if you like the videos on this channel and you wanna support it, as well as join our Discord, you can consider joining our Patreon. And see you in the next one.